Hi, I'm your host, Dennis Coral. We're in another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. We continue with Shannon Interian. Shannon, thank you for being here. I want us to demystify some of the myths on travel, and to do that, we actually ask our audience some questions that were meant for you. So here's one of you. Travel is frivolous. It's a frivolous expense that I should cut entirely when I'm saving for retirement.
No,
is that true?
No, and that gives me chest pains. No, it's not frivolous. This is part of your life, right? So it's an investment, and it should be part of like everyone, right? Like everybody wants to travel and you got to see other cultures. Like I feel like that's like a rite of passage that everybody has to do. But no, it's not frivolous, and you should be putting that money aside always for travel,
I agree.
I do. And I have like two bucket lists. I think there's a retirement and then one for like the trips that you're able to do now. I think those are those, buckets that you need to be putting that money in.
I agree. And for the record, you also work with us. So you are also building and saving wealth for your own future as well.
Yes.
So yes, not just your travel consultant also saves for her own future. So another demystifying, booking travel myself online is always cheaper than using a travel advisor.
Okay, so this one also gives me chest pains. So I get a lot. I get a lot of clients that say, "Oh, I went right onto Expedia and it's this amount of money," and I'm like, "Great. Well, it probably doesn't have breakfast and it's probably non-refundable." So yeah, you could book it. You could do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know that you didn't you didn't add those things. And then the other thing that I get is, well, I went right to the hotel and it says I could save 10%. 100%, you're going to get that 10%. What they're trying to do is to cut out, us travel advisors. But and it's true, you may get it. There's not going to lie, you may get it cheaper. But the difference is, I'm giving you an experience, right? So you're going to get it cheaper probably online, but chances are, because you did get it cheaper, they're going to put you in the room that's next to the elevator. You're not going to get the view. There's always fine print. And being a travel advisor, that we work with companies. So we have Virtuoso, I don't know if you're familiar with, or Signature, that work with the higher end luxury parts of the travel. And when I'm booking through them, they are giving me everything that's included, right? We have the breakfast, the upgrades, the amenities, the welcoming gift, the breakfast, everything's refundable, all of that, because they want us to book with them and we want to be able to give that to our clients. So I'm not here to give deals. My job is to give an experience. So yes, you can definitely, I'm not going to say that that's not true. You probably will find it cheaper, but are we looking for an experience, or are we just trying to do everything on a budget and just kind of say I've been to that city and that's it, or do you want to be, you can have that little bit of luxury. It's not going to cost you a lot. It's just that those little details are going to make sure that I'm safe. I know it's fully refundable, and better yet, since I did book with my travel advisor, I may get that upgrade and I didn't ask for it. And so all of those things are entailed. So that's, it can, is it cheaper? It can be, not always. I do get those extra perks that those other places are not going to be able to give to you. And who doesn't want perks, right? Like, who doesn't want those little special treatments? So, it does happen. And then there's days where I do get those extra percentages off, So that's what you got to use your advisor. You got to ask us. We have it. We have those perks,
And also, I guess one of the benefits is that if something happens, it's something I think they would reach out to you, as opposed to having to dial a 1-800 number across the country or across another part of the world, and Expedia may not answer right away where you
They're not going to. And that's the beauty. I mean, this has happened several times. I'll give you an example. I've had clients that were in Rome, they were packing, and they were leaving the next day on a train. This just happened in July, and I get the advisor saying, just letting you know that the trains are going in on strike in Italy on these dates and time. And I saw that it affected my clients. Now they're packing, they're about to go out to dinner. They're on vacation, right? Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm behind the scenes. I'm already getting their refund. I'm already sending my emails, and I've already secured their rent a car at their place in Rome. And then once I get everything taken care of, I will now give my clients the bad news. But at least I knew that they had to get to Florence, right? They had to get there. They have other tours going on. They're busy, and I was able to do that. So that's the beauty of using an advisor. If they were just doing through Expedia or what have you, they would have gotten to the train station and they would have been like, okay, now what? Like, what do we do? And by the time they got to the airport to get the rent-a-car, there may not been any more cars left. Mm-hmm. So that's the beauty of
it's a peace of mind.
It is a peace of mind, yeah.
That's worth having to work with you. That's a big
and they got
deal.
to eat dinner, and nobody had to make a phone call, and I was doing all of that.
That's awesome. And you don't speak Italian as fluent, but you have a niche in Italy. You want to share a little bit about that?
So my mother was Italian.
Okay.
And yes, I love Italy so much so I have my dual citizenship, and I did buy a home in 2021. And it's funny. My husband thinks we bought it for retirement, but he doesn't realize that we're leaving in like 10 years. This is not a retirement plan. This is when the kids leave to go to college plan. But I love the culture. And it's not because I'm Italian. It's nothing to do that. I'm sure you hear this all the time. There's just something about Italy. I have this thing that I say about traveling. It's a 360 experience. It's about the people, the culture, the energy, the food. I have to feel at home. And I felt that 30 years ago when I first went there. And there was something in me that said, I'm going to be here. I didn't know how, I didn't know when. And it happened. I was blessed to be able to purchase a home, and I just love being there. I mean, there's just this feeling that it's just a sense of home, and I just know that I'll be there forever and ever. And the fact that my mother was Italian, it just brings me closer to her. So she's no longer here, so I love that. But I've been to so many places, and there's only a few places that I can say that I can live here. Like, this is where.
And Italy is one of them.
And Italy is one of them.
Yeah. And you travel throughout the country, I imagine, by now?
Yeah. My kids, Brooklyn, Berlin, and Paris are my kids' names. Kingston and Bronx is my dog's names. I travel everywhere. I've studied abroad. I've studied in China. I'm a travel junkie, total travel junkie. I've been everywhere. And just something always brings me back to Italy.
I love what you said about the food, that traveling, the experience, and having make you feel at home. Yeah,
it's like a 360 feeling. And trust me, there's been other countries that have done that, There's also countries that I'm like, oh my God, this place is stunning. Oh, what's with the food? Like, what are we gonna, I don't know, or maybe, I don't click with the people as well,
Or the language.
Or the language, right? There's all sorts of parts. I mean, I've been to Asia. There's parts of Asia that are just beautiful. Language is very hard, there wasn't body language. Maybe I didn't know the language, but body language, there was a mutual thing. It's very difficult. And then there's a sense of I don't feel like at home. I miss home. And so there's just different parts. There's parts of the Caribbean that I'm like, I can live here, I love this energy and what it has to offer. And I think that's deep rooted of who we are. And I just love that. So cool. I talk about that 360 all the time.
I like that. Very nice. Speaking on that topic, a myth that somebody asked here, one of our audience members, does it take a lot to travel in luxury? Do you have to be a millionaire to travel in luxury?
No, you don't. But planning, big time, with money and planning your time. I think they go hand in hand, right? A lot of times we think, if I go cheaper, it's this. No, it's not gonna, in the end, it's gonna come out way more expensive, right? But I think if you're planning correctly, learning the logistics, learning the land, learning where you want to go, and being able to, to do the research. That's where I come in hand, right? That's where I'm able to kind of help, like saying, you don't need to do that to do this.
Yeah.
You don't need $1 million to have that luxury. You really, really, truly don't. I'm not a millionaire. I travel. Not yet. But I do like to travel. I like to feel special. I like my private drivers. I do, and if it's going to be that comfort and I have that sense of that private driving to go to one city to another, I'm saving myself time, right? That's a big time. And if, we have minimum time when we're traveling, right? So you want to maximize that time. And maybe it seems like it costs more money for that private drive, but I got an amazing experience out of it. I got to talk to the driver. He made a couple pit stops for me that he wasn't supposed to. And now I just made a great new friends, right? And so that to me is luxury right there. I just got to do something. I got to connect, and that to me is priceless.
I love that. And what I'm learning from you, it's that travel is an experience. So
100%.
If you're going to make an experience worth your while, make sure you invest in it and have the right resources to make sure that you are going to be enjoying this experience. Because most people normally don't travel by themselves. They travel with family. They travel with people they care for, their kids. I mean, I travel with my son all the time, and that's why I like to plan things with him, because I want him to experience something, and I get so much joy from his eyes.
Yeah, like you're learning through him. Yes.
So the trip is really not even for me. It's for him to see the world in a different eyes, and we always get so much, and we learn so much from it. So yeah, that's true. Another thing that I wanted to ask you is, so when you're saving for yourself, should you wait till you're actually done and get there? Or if I'm planning for my kids' college, or if I'm planning for my retirement, should I wait until I'm there to finally start saving or investing in retirement, or I'm sorry, in a trip, in doing my trip, or should I just do it now?
So I think that's going to go, I think we touched that topic a little bit about age, right? And I'm a hiker. I hike. I've done the Swiss Alps. I've done 2 nights in the Grand Canyon. We're huge hikers. And I know that, and I hope I would be able to do it at 80, but it's going to be easier, right, at 40 than it is at 80. So there's those trips that I feel like I'm going to be able to do them now, and I'm going to experience it a little bit better than I would be maybe later on in life. So we're doing another part of the Grand Canyon where, we're putting those backpacks on, and, we're putting, 30 pounds on our back, and we're hiking. I don't know if my parents, at 70, 80 are going to want to enjoy that. Right. No. So those are those trips that I like to do. And now, right, I want to plan those now, whether I do it with my kids, which they're not huge hikers, but I do. I like to do those trips now. And then versus where I'm dying to see the Northern Lights from all different parts of the world. But you know what? I can do that on a little bit more of an older scale, where I can do it by boat, and I can see it on my balcony, and I didn't have to hike to get there. So you know what? I can put that on the back burner. I definitely want to get there, right? But maybe I'll do it in a little bit different way of doing it. So there are those trips that I think are meant to be done now, and there's those trips that are meant to be done in later. And, investing into putting that money aside where, you know what, I can take this boat, but if I invest correctly, I'm going to take this luxury cruise line, because I know I'm going to be able to do other things on that boat that maybe this cruise line won't be able to do. So that's where that budgeting and planning for the future comes in. Maybe because I'm not on that higher scale budget, but I want to take my kids now to see the Northern Lights. Maybe we'll take that cruise line because it is more budget friendly. So you have to outweigh those those trips and what is important to you. And then, as you know, what may be important to you may not be important to your children, right? So, like,
that's true.
you know, like I'm like, this is amazing. They're like, why? Like, you know,
that is
so
true.
that happens. So I'm huge planning with the kids. Like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, what's important to you? You know, like we're going here, do research, tell me what you think. You know, one we were talking about doing South Korea. My daughter's like, I just want to eat with the animals in the cafe. I'm like, where was that in my? That wasn't even part
That's
of
Africa.
But there are like these like cafes that you can eat with animals. I was like, how does she know this? Like, there you go with TikTok. But I wasn't thinking that, you know. So, and then maybe I want to do Japan, but I can't do it on that level that I want to do right now because I'm taking a bunch of kids with me, you know, and like maybe I want to see Japan on my terms. So maybe I'll wait for that
That's true.
that trip later on. But I'll take this type of trip with them now to Japan. But as soon as I'm ready, I can do more of this type of trip.
I see.
So there's always those ways. You always have to plan and, you know, what's important.
I see. So you would think, I guess, the hiking is you do it in your 40s and 50s, and then the Northern Lights maybe later in life, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And so do you have a list of things like
oh my
that?
God, I have a list? What do you want me to Hold on a second.
A list
no.
of things. These are the things you can do between a certain age.
Yeah, I mean...
40s and 50s, 50s and 60s, 70s and beyond.
I mean, I don't have like a full list, but I mean, I'm a heavy hiker. You know, you can do, and let's go back to Sedona. We did very basic hiking. So we were all age level group of women last week, you know, from our early 30s up until our late 60s. And we all were able to do that, right?
Nice.
However, I mean, the hiking that we're doing is that we're getting permits and we're sleeping down the Grand Canyon for 2 days.
Wow.
So you need a permit to get down there. It takes a whole day to even just get down to the bottom. You know, you have to pitch up your tent and then you got to pack it up and then like hike over again the Colorado River. And then you're going, I mean, this is over 30 miles of hiking. This is 2.5 days or almost 4 days in the Grand Canyon. Obviously, kudos to there are those powerhouses that do that. I mean, they've been hiking their whole entire life, but this takes training to do. And
True.
Do I really want to do this when I'm 70?
No.
Like, you know? So I have the time now and I have the stamina to do it now. So I'm going to do those trips now. And I hope my grandkids or my kids would want to do it with me one day and I'll do it again, you know?
That would be fun.
But I'm sure the older I get, it's going to be harder on my knees, you know?
That's true.
We did the Swiss Alps. This is really funny. It's a really funny story. We did the Swiss Alps last summer and we were like, oh, this is better because we'll just hike from town to town. We don't need tents. We just need our clothes. Our backpacks are going to be lighter. It's not true because now we're jamming extra clothes in there that we probably don't need. And we're dying. It's the altitude. You know, we live in flat Florida. So here we are dying in the Swiss Alps. And I see this elderly lady with a big walking stick way far. And we're walking and we're zigzagging up and there's like cows and it's raining and I'm exhausted and I'm just like so tired. And then all of a sudden I'm like, where's that lady? She's like right behind us. I was like, how did you get here so fast? She's like, I've been walking these hills since I was 7. And then I'm like, okay. I think we walked another 2 hours. She surpassed us. When we got to the town, she's there already done with her lunch. She has her newspaper. She's like, how was your walk? I'm like dying. And I'm like, it's like, I want to be that when I grow up. So, you know.
You have such a wealth of knowledge. And I think that's one of the value added of working with you, that you're not just a travel advisor, but you also embody traveling. I mean, just you mentioned your kids, you know, Berlin and Brooklyn, and they're named after cities that you like to, you have been.
They love it, yeah.
You have been. So I think that's one of the added benefits of working with you. And I want to finish this podcast with that because our next one, I want to know more about you. Shannon, the business owner, what led you start your practice, your business. And thank you so much. I mean, this is perfect segue for the next episode. Thank you so much for watching another episode. As we like to say at Core Wealth Management, retirement and financial confidence starts here. Stay tuned for our next episode with Shannon Interian, that we're going to learn more about her practice and how her process and how she helps families and individuals in amazing travel experiences. Thank you.